The 1984 film Star Trek III The Search for Spock. This is a nice continuation of the story. Granted, this isn't my favorite of the films so far, but it does a lot of good things here that makes it worthwhile in my opinion. After Spock's heroic sacrifice in the second film, I was looking forward to the story in this, which is about Captain Kirk. He learns that Spock's spirit is in the mind of his friend Leonard McCoy. When he and his crew on the Starship Enterprise learn that Spock is alive though, they go to the Genesis planet to retrieve him so they can bring him home to his planet Vulcan. Along the way, they also have to deal with a dangerous, hostile enemy who goes by the name of Kruge, who is after the Genesis device. And from there is a film that I highly enjoyed. It just has so many entertaining moments, and while it's not iconic compared to the previous film, this is still worthwhile, I'll say. But it's some good character development. Everyone does a great job once again in their respective roles. And you know, the thing is that this film could have been a flop, but thankfully the writing is good, even though I thought the story could have been a little bit better. But as far as this is concerned, it's without question one of the most notable films in the franchise. And even more than 4 decades later, it still holds up pretty well. I thought this film did such a great job dealing with the aftermath of Spock's death, learning that he's alive. And of course, there's still the Genesis plot line, which I thought was intriguing because I thought it was only going to show up in the second film. But here it does play a significant role. William Shatner, once again, always a great job as Captain Kirk in this. He's trying to get his friend Spock back. They wanted to travel all the way to the Genesis planet where they have to deal with Kruge. And speaking of which, I think that Christopher Lloyd, he did such a great job in the villain role. Now granted, the Klingons, they are an interesting race. I don't know much about them, but I do know that they are ruthless. I like how Captain Kirk and the crew actually had outsmarted him, and it was the destruction of the Starship Enterprise. I was like, man, I can't believe it's gone. I thought it was going to stick around to at least the 6th movie, but that happened, and then Captain Kirk losing his son David to Kruge. You know, David sacrificing himself to save Savick. And speaking of which, I thought that Robin Curtis, she did such a good job playing Savick. Probably even better than Christy Allen, only because she has more of a significant role here. She's helping Spock out since he was reborn on the Genesis planet. He's a young boy that he rapidly ages because of the conditions on that planet. It leads to a lot of memorable moments. Not only that though, some of the most memorable moments in the story is by Leonard McCoy. The late DeForest Kelly did such a great job. His acting was on point here. Having the living spirit of Spock within him, he was willing to do what it takes to get his friend back. Even at the end of the film when he went through that ceremony, knowing the risks about what it could do to him. But that's what friendship is. And speaking at the end, I did like how Spock didn't have that much of a large role because, you know, it makes sense. Why would he be in the film majority of it? The late Leonard Nimoy, he had directed this, so he was busy with that. And I'm wondering how does the story continue from here, but now I'm looking forward to it. I did like the visuals. They look great for 1984. The music done once again by the late James Horner. As someone who's never watched Star Trek when I was younger, getting into these films, I just like seeing the story. Granted, this isn't perfect, but at least it does a lot of things really well here that I do appreciate. Considering there's not a whole lot of action in it, but it does have a satisfying finale. And overall, it's just a fun movie from beginning to end. I'm giving this film a 7 out of 10. Granted, my favorite in the franchise is still the second movie, followed by this, and then part 1. Now, I have heard some good things about part 4, so it will be intriguing when I eventually check that one out. And not only that, Kruge, he's not that memorable of a villain to be honest. But I was like, man, they could have made Kruge a iconic villain. Still, I like this for what it is though. Nonetheless, even all of these years later, this is still being appreciated by a lot of Star Trek fans out there. And that's my review of Star Trek III The Search for Spock. Alright, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Okay, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.